Welcome to the Three Mouseketeers, the sibling podcast that understands your Disney addiction. I'm Jared.
I'm Amanda.
And I'm Emily.
On this episode, we're going to have a not-so-spooky Halloween special, and this special is going to be about Mystic Manor at Hong Kong Disney. But first, let's get into some trivia. You guys ready to play?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm always ready. Never do good, but always ready.
Okay, well, keeping with the theme of our main topic tonight, I wanted to go ahead and do a Mystic Manor question. So what is the name of the cart in Mystic Manor? Is it A, Mystic Magnet, B, Mystic Magneto, C, Mystic Electric, or D, Mystic Carriage?
Mystic Carriage.
Okay, Amanda is coming straight out with D, Mystic Carriage. Emily, what do you think?
Well, that's probably the right answer, but I don't like Mystic Carriage, so I'm going to go with Mystic Magneto.
Okay, very interesting. Why, Amanda, did you pick Mystic Carriage first?
Because I learned in my research that Henry Hightower actually designed this ride vehicle. And he is from the Society of the Explorers and Adventurers from Tokyo Disney Sea, from the Tower of Terror.
Mm-hmm.
And he's an inventor, and he invented this thing. And it just sounds like a name that he would choose.
Okay.
Not necessarily. I didn't see anywhere what the name was, but that was why I chose this one.
Okay. Now I want to say this specifically. You have ridden this ride, correct?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
And
Emily,
it's fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
You picked B, Mystic Magneto. Why?
I did. Well, I have not ridden this ride. I would like to put that out there. But it sounds fun. And the Doom Buggies, they have a fun name. So why give them a boring name? It should be something fun like Mystic Magneto. And so that's why I picked it.
Okay, that's very well thought out, in all honesty. Surprising. Okay, I do want to say this. One of you is correct.
Wow.
That never happens.
Based off of your first instinct, give me like a 50-50 on who is correct.
Well, I felt confident that it was Amanda at first because she's ridden the ride, so I thought she just knew.
Mm-hmm.
But now that I found out that she doesn't just know, I think it's me.
Okay.
I think that name is ridiculous, the Mystic Magneto, so I'm going to say I think it's probably me.
Okay. You guys are going with final answers on both of them. All right.
Yep.
One of you is correct, like I said earlier, and that person is Emily.
Wow.
Yay!
Fancy.
So there is a sign up in the line Q, and in quotations it shows the cart itself, and in quotes it says Mystic Magneto, the electric carriage.
All right.
Okay.
So like in quotations Mystic Magneto, not in quotations electric carriage. So it is. So the design is an electric carriage, but it is called the Mystic Magneto.
Yeah, see, I thought that they should have given it a fun name.
Yeah, and it turns out you were right. So congratulations.
Thank you.
Woohoo, you did it.
Thanks.
You double did it.
Double did it indeed. All right, Emily, since you won this round, let's go ahead and get into a history fact.
Okay, for today's history, I wanted to talk about Walt Disney and his wife, Lily. So, Walt wanted to surprise his wife with a chow puppy for Christmas, and he decided to put the puppy in a little hat box to give to Lily for, Christmas morning. And when she got the box, she was kind of disappointed because she thought he was giving her a hat, and she likes to pick out her own clothes, and she didn't want him picking out a hat for her. And then whenever she opened up the box, she found out that it was a puppy. And Walt said that he's never seen anyone so excited over an animal before. And that was just like one of his favorite memories. And that brings me to this point. Does that remind y'all of anything?
Lady and the Tramp.
It's from Lady and the Tramp.
Yeah. So after he gave his wife this puppy in a hat box for Christmas, and he loved that memory and the excitement that she had and everything, he decided he wanted to put that into the movie Lady and the Tramp. So he recreated the scene with his wife in the movie. And I thought that was so cool and special.
It
Very
is.
cool.
It's really sweet.
I know, it's so sweet.
So I guess that
He was
brings it up. Is that supposed to be Walt and Lily in Lady and the Tramp?
I really don't know, but I mean, I know that scene was definitely modeled after them. So maybe it has a little touch of them in the love story.
Maybe, because you don't really see their faces or anything, right?
You really don't. So
It could be
maybe
them.
so.
It could.
Yeah. It's very possible.
And
I've
you don't
always-
ever hear names either. Jim, I guess. Jim Darling.
Yeah. More like pet names, though.
Yeah.
like, that they have for each other. But I don't know. I thought it was really cute. And I know I've always heard that Walt Disney was a huge family man, and I feel like that kind of shows it.
Yeah. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool indeed. Amanda, why don't you go ahead and give us a tip for the week?
This week, I wanted to talk about two of the most popular rides right now at Disney World. And those are Rise of the Resistance and Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. These rides right now, for the Rise of the Resistance, you have to get a boarding pass, basically a virtual queue, in order to ride. And Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, the line lately since reopening has been sometimes crazy long, like 120 minutes, which is crazy when you think about how many people are actually in the parks right now. That is a long time to wait for a ride. So I wanted to give you some tips to give you the best chance of getting on these rides.
Okay, well, go ahead. Which one do you want to start with first? Because I've got my own tip for Mickey's Runaway Railway.
All right. Well, I was going to say your best bet is to get to the parks early, probably about an hour before the parks open. And right now it seems like they're opening around 10 o'clock. So try to get there around 9. And that way you get into the park before 10 when you need to make your Rise of the Resistance pass. Whenever you get into the park, go right away to the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. And that's when you're going to find the shortest line for that ride. Get in there, ride that ride, and then be ready at 10 o'clock to have fast fingers to ride Rise of the Resistance to get your boarding pass.
See, and that is what I tried to do whenever I was there this past trip in early October. I got to the park about 9:15, and I immediately went to get in line for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. The line was 45 minutes, and literally at, I think it was 9:58, I got on the ride. So I was on the ride for the 10 o'clock boarding passes for Rise of Resistance. I tried to do it while I was on the ride, while still trying to enjoy the ride. And
that's not gonna
I did not get the 10 o'clock. Yeah. So yeah, just be prepared that if you do it this way, you might miss out on the boarding passes for Rise of the Resistance.
You could, but if you're getting close to your time to ride and you know that it's about 10 o'clock whenever you need to be online to get your boarding pass, you could always let the people behind you go. Just a thought.
Yeah, I mean, you could possibly. I will say this. They were running the Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway early. So whenever you get in line, the line is already moving. The line for the ride, you're actually getting on the ride before 10 o'clock. So before opening.
And that's what I'm thinking. If you are there right at 9 o'clock, so exactly an hour before the park opens, you will probably be one of the first people in line for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Yeah.
So you could get through the ride before 10 o'clock when you need to be ready for Rise of the Resistance.
Right. Now, I have heard that one of the best ways to go about getting one of the boarding passes for Rise of the Resistance is to get away from as many people as you possibly can so that they aren't taking away your bandwidth. I mean, just think about it in the sense of like going to a sporting event or a concert or something like that. If everybody is packed in right there, you're all taking each other's bandwidth, so everything is slower on your cell phones. Get away from as many people as you possibly can. I have heard people going to the Dino, like right there by the lake. And like, I mean, the restaurant there is not open and nobody is really there throughout most of the day that I noticed. So try to get into some little spot right there and try that.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. And you may have to decide what your priority is. I mean, if you are there a little later, if you get there at 9:30 and the line for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is already 45 minutes long, you may need to decide, is Rise of the Resistance a priority for you? If so, you may want to go and try to get your boarding pass for that first before getting in line for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Well, see, I don't know, because at that point, you're probably not going to be on the ride at 10 o'clock, so you can probably go ahead and stand in line. I mean, you're going to be closer to people, but...
That's what I was thinking. Yeah. If you're trying to get away from people, standing in line for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway is probably not the best place to be.
Right.
So I really think that it's only really going to work to do both of those like this if you get there early, very early, like 9 o'clock, an hour earlier.
Yeah.
So you can get through with the ride in time to go somewhere else and find a spot where there's not a million people to try to get your boarding pass.
Yeah. And see, it wasn't necessarily a big to-do for me to get Rise of the Resistance because I've already wrote it. So I felt like I needed to definitely get in line for Railway just because it was something that I haven't experienced before.
Right. And a lot of times people are saying the later in the day, the better chance you can get a shorter line for Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway and some of the other popular rides. But when we went and tried to get on Mickey and Minnie's in the evening, they had closed the line off, so we couldn't get in line.
See, I kind of got lucky. I wrote it twice when I was at Hollywood Studios. I wrote it once in the morning, and I wrote it again at the end of the night when it was a 45-minute wait. And that was mostly because it was the end of the day at night, and it was raining. So yeah. I kind of got a little bit lucky in that aspect.
Right. You rode twice and I didn't get to ride at all. Boo.
There you go.
So this week's segment is Disney bounding. And since it's a Halloween themed episode, I wanted to give everyone a Halloween themed Disney bounding. So I picked Jack Skellington and I created 2 looks. And this time I did it kind of different, where instead of just like 2 women's or girls looks, I did a women's look and a more masculine men's look, but I mean it's still, it's kind of gender neutral. So for option A, that's my more feminine look, and I went with a pair of black and white striped shorts. Of course, Jack Skellington wears black and white stripes, so I had to go with black and white stripes. And then just a white top, but I did pick a top with a collar because his suit has a collar. So I added that little detail in there. And then some really cool black combat boots, just because I thought that they went with the outfit. And then I found a really cool pair of Jack Skellington earrings on Etsy. And I've said this before, but Etsy has the best handmade Disney accessories. And so if you're looking for anything, you should check out Etsy. I also added a pair of Minnie ears, and these ones I've been wanting so bad, and I still haven't gotten them for some reason, and now I can't find them on Shop Disney, but they're really cool Jack Skellington ears, and they have the symbol that's on his bow tie as the bow on the ears. And I picked a black bracelet with a jack-o'-lantern. It's fitting for him. He is the Pumpkin King. And then I found a really cute Jack Skellington purse that I would carry in my day-to-day life. And then I finished the look off with a casket ring. So that's the end of option A. And for option B, this one's a little bit more simple as well. I didn't do a ton of accessories, but I went with a pair of just black pants and a black and white striped collared shirt, a black Jack Skellington hat, black and white Vans, and a Nightmare Before Christmas backpack that's white and it has Jack's face on it. And it's pretty cool. And like I said, kind of gender neutral. And if you want to see either of these looks, I posted them on our Instagram, and you can find us at T3M podcast. And that way you can kind of see what I'm talking about instead of just listening to me talk about it.
Yeah, and go and pick your favorite. Let us know which one you like best. I personally like A just because of the accessories. And those shorts are really cute.
They are. I would totally wear those shorts.
I know, me too. I like them a lot.
I probably would wear them as well.
Oh.
Wow. Okay. That would be attractive.
I'm just saying. They're cute shorts. And
they are.
Option B, I mean, it's a little harder to do like a gender neutral bounding just because of you're losing most of the accessories. And the accessories on A really make the outfit.
Right. But I kind of wanted to do something a little bit more simplistic and something that like a guy that's not into accessories or a person in general that's not into like all the jewelry and stuff could wear and feel comfortable in, but still enjoy Disney bounding.
Very true.
That is very true.
I mean, option B is not bad at all. I mean,
No,
it's something
it's
that I could see me wearing. I don't know about the jeans in the park. I mean, I have worn jeans in the park, and it is very hot, very humid.
Mm-hmm.
I guess it really depends.
Replace them with some shorts.
Yeah.
It could be around January. I mean, sometimes it can get cold.
Yeah.
So it could be something that you would wear in the winter.
I agree.
Yeah, possibly, but I would think that you would wear something like this around Halloween. I mean, you could possibly do like Christmas.
Well, there could be an unseasonably cold front.
I mean, we did go one time at Christmas and we were freezing. It was the first time we did the Christmas party.
Yeah, I remember we ended up buying beanies and scarves and everything because we were so cold.
Yes.
Yeah. So you never know.
Exactly. I mean, it could have a cold front come through. It is possible.
It is possible, but not that likely. It's going to be mostly hot.
It's Florida. It has multiple personalities. So
that is
sometimes
very
it's
true.
hot and sometimes it's cold.
Yeah.
Very true.
So I like A as well. And it is the accessories that put it over the top for me. And I absolutely adore the shorts. I would totally wear those, even if it wasn't for a Disney bounding of Jack Skellington.
Yeah.
I totally love the shorts.
Me too.
So I would definitely wear those.
I mean, for sure, those Mickey ears are really cool too, though.
I know. I think I missed my opportunity to get them.
I think you did.
That's sad.
I know. It's really sad. There's a lot of cute ones that are kind of similar on Etsy and even a little more intricate, so I can always get a pair there, but I am a little bummed.
And now B is not bad. It looks like a really comfortable version. So I do think that's a great option for people.
Yeah.
Who don't like all the accessories.
Yeah.
And take out the hat and the backpack, and I mean, you still have a good outfit that you can just go anywhere in.
Exactly.
I like black.
You can rewear it.
I like black a lot. I wear a lot of black.
Well, there we go.
What about you, Em?
I I would wear option A. Like, this is an outfit. If you take away the ears, I would honestly wear this outfit like today.
Well, it is October, so.
Yeah.
Would you wear it in February?
I mean, if it wasn't cold, probably.
Just curious.
I really like I have pretty much the same exact boots, and yeah, honestly, like I said, besides the ears, because people would look at me like I was crazy, and I might not wear the jack-o'-lantern bracelet, but everything else I would wear.
Even the ring?
Yeah.
Very cool. I like the ring. I think it's cute.
Me too.
And you could take that ring and put it with the other outfit to spice it up a little bit if you wanted to.
Yeah, same with the earrings.
Yeah.
Yeah,
you really could.
So, yeah.
Or even the bracelet if you wanted to.
True.
Honestly, mix and match how you please.
Very good idea, Emily.
Okay, thank you.
All right, well, let's go ahead and get into our main topic. Our main topic, again, is Mystic Manor at Hong Kong Disney. We wanted to talk about the ride. We did something very similar whenever we talked about Splash Mountain, and we wanted to make it kind of Halloween-esque, and we didn't want to talk about Tower of Terror, which is obviously the best ride in the parks, and because we talk about it all the time, and we didn't really want to talk about like the Haunted Mansion or Phantom Manor or anything like that. So we decided to choose Mystic Manor. So, Amanda, you've ridden this ride before.
Yes, I have. It is really a fun ride.
It looks really fun. I went through, if you haven't been able to go to Hong Kong Disney and ride this ride, you can search YouTube like I did, and you can find some ride-throughs. And it gives you pretty much a sense of what the ride is about, and, you know, gives you an idea of the feel and the experience. So a few things that I wanted to go over is about the ride itself. So it started previews in April of 2013, and it officially opened May 17th of 2013. The stars of the ride are Stephen Stanton. He plays Lord Henry Mystic. He is an actor and voice actor who has been in several Disney projects, you know, especially in the Star Wars universe. Frank Welker, he plays Albert, the pet monkey, and the Roaring Plant, who is in the ride. He actually voiced Freddy from Scooby-Doo and Megatron and Soundwave from Transformers.
Interesting.
And then Danny Elfman is the singing helmets within the ride, and he also composed the musical score for the ride.
Right.
So, and if you don't know who Danny Elfman is, then I can't help you. I'm sorry. He is very well known.
So one thing I found really interesting when we went to Hong Kong Disneyland, the very first time we went right before Halloween, and they had a special show going on at Mystic Manor, and it's called Cycle of the Spirits, and it had a rather large cast. There were like probably 20, 25 people in it, and they were all dressed in white, solid white, and their faces were painted white, their hands were painted white. They were solid white, looking like a ghost.
Mm-hmm.
And they walked out of the mansion, and they came down to the pavement where everybody would walk, to the walkway, and some were still up on the balcony and things of the mansion, but they were interacting with people walking around. It was kind of creepy, and there were ones that looked like children that were jump roping or playing with a pool duck. You know how you walk the little duck or whatever.
Yeah.
And it just gave you kind of an eerie feeling, and they had it all in green. So the whole mansion and the people were all with lights of green around them. And it was at night, so it was kind of creepy feel. but it's something that you won't find anywhere else. I mean, you don't ever see the cast members that are in a show come out and interact with the people acting like they're a ghost like that.
Right.
It was pretty neat.
That's
And
really interesting.
It is. And the show went on for a long time. Like they were interacting probably a good hour. And if you go over to like to the next area over, there's a roller coaster there. And one of the ghosts actually went and stood by my husband in line while he was waiting for this roller coaster, and then proceeded to get on the ride with him and rode the ride with him. It was so cool. So I know it's not exactly Mystic Manor, but it involves Mystic Manor, and it was just really a really cool experience.
That's hilarious.
That's super cool.
I like that, and I want to go now for Halloween.
Right? It was so cool. Such a neat experience.
Yeah.
And we had no idea what we were walking into, you know? It just happened. It was really cool.
Yeah. And that's really weird because the ride itself is such a lighthearted fantasy ride because they didn't want it to be like the Haunted Mansion and didn't want to talk about the spirits and stuff like that because of the Chinese culture. So it's very strange that they added that for Halloween.
Yeah, I was also thinking that because they specifically went away from the Haunted Mansion theme because of cultural differences. So it's kind of
right. It is, but you also have to remember that Hong Kong was under British control for a while too. So the people there, a lot of them still speak English, and they also speak Chinese. So it's just kind of a mashup of cultures there. So I guess that's how they maybe got away with it, because there are still people of other cultures that live there.
Yeah.
That's true. That's very fair. So for everybody who has not ridden this ride, it is a railless system like they have for Rise of the Resistance and Ratatouille and other rides that are similar to that.
It's called a trackless ride, and they're propelled by magnets and RFID chips. And Mystic Manor has over 200 RFID chips buried in the cement of the ride.
That's really cool. So it's very similar to what they use at like Amazon warehouses and automated warehouses, stuff like that.
Right.
So one of the things that I thought was really cool is that the exterior of the Mystic Manor is actually designed after a 19th century Bradbury mansion in Los Angeles. It's not the exact same, but it's very similar in comparison. And it was used by film companies and as a boarding house during the early silent film era. And Harold Lloyd called it Pneumonia Hall because it was extremely drafty, which I thought was hilarious.
It's an interesting fact.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, if you look at the side-by-side comparisons, you'll obviously see it's not exact, but it is pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, you can definitely tell it was inspired by the mansion in California.
Right. And I mean that you can't see that mansion anymore because it was demolished in 1929.
Wow.
Because it was haunted. I don't know that.
Not factual, but okay.
Not a fact.
Goes well for a Halloween show, right?
Yeah, fun Emily made up fact.
Yep.
So let's go ahead and talk about the story behind the ride a little bit. So the story is that Lord Henry Mystic and his pet monkey Albert travel the world collecting antiquities. They have recently acquired a special music box that is supposed to bring objects to life. And Albert ends up opening the music box, and the antiques in the house come to life as the ride goers travel through the house as the items cause havoc. Amanda, does that ring a little bit of a bell?
Yes, it does. I mean, I've read this multiple times. It's really a great ride. I don't know if I've mentioned that.
Would you say it's one of your favorite rides?
It's probably up there. It is a really good ride. It's so unique and different from all of the other rides that Disney has, I think, and it makes it special. And Hong Kong Disneyland is the only place you can ride it. So it gives people a reason to have to go to Hong Kong Disneyland.
Yeah, and it seems like Disney is kind of doing that more and more. Although they are bringing Ratatouille over to Disney World, and Tron's going there as well. I don't know.
But Mystic Manor is different because it is a play on the Haunted Mansion. But since they couldn't, because of the cultural differences, they couldn't bring Haunted Mansion to Hong Kong Disneyland. So they needed something that was a little more upbeat, that left out the creepiness and stuff of
the ghosts and
the Haunted Mansion, the ghosts, the spirits, the cobwebs, the dirtiness, the grime. And so this did that. It's similar, but it's different.
Right.
Yeah. Right. And I thought that it was pretty cool that, I don't know if y'all saw this, but they say that this is part of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers. And that's a theme that they have throughout Disney parks in the Haunted Mansion, and also the Jungle Cruise was the other one. So this is like a thing that they carried over to Hong Kong Disney as well.
Also, Tokyo Disney Sea, the Tower of Terror there is a little different than the one at Walt Disney World. And Henry Hightower is the proprietor there, and he's part of the club as well.
Yeah. I did see a little bit of that. I didn't dig too deep into that. I figured one of you two would know a little bit about that. So I stayed away from that part. But I did see that. I think it's really interesting that you have some similarities with the Haunted Mansion. Just because the ride wasn't inspired by Haunted Mansion, but like Amanda said, it was something where they couldn't take Haunted Mansion and just bring it over and just stick it into Hong Kong Disney. So I'm glad that they got something that was similar and then took some small elements and placed them in along the ride. One specifically is like the singing helmets, the body armor, because body armor is one thing that you see quite often in Haunted Mansion.
But they also have the singing busts.
That's what I was
Haunted
about
Mansion
to say.
too.
That's true.
So that was a play on that. Another play that they have, which isn't Haunted Mansion specific, but there's one from Trader Sam makes an appearance, and he's from the Jungle Cruise, and he makes an appearance in the Mystic Manor. And also the Tiki God from the Enchanted Tiki Room makes an appearance too.
Yeah, I think it's really cool that they took aspects of like favorite Disney rides, but they didn't create a photocopy, like an exact copy of a ride, because I really am not a fan of them just taking a ride and moving it to another park. Like, I really don't like that. So I think it's cool that you still have aspects with it being its own ride.
Right.
Now, some other similarities that I noticed, we talked about the Museum of the Weird on last episode, and it does seem like they took some of the inspiration from that as well, because obviously it is a collection of artifacts from around the world, which the Museum of the Weird was supposed to be that. The tribal masks were a thing with Museum of the Weird, and you do get a little bit of that at the beginning of the ride, and then also whenever you go into like the Tiki Enchanted Tiki Room area of the ride. And then obviously the musical instruments, that was something that Museum of the Weird was supposedly supposed to have as well. The Medusa painting is more of a reference to the Haunted Mansion, because the Haunted Mansion does have something with Medusa transforming in the painting, and you do get a transformation painting of Medusa in Mystic Manor. Also, we have the man-eating plants.
Yeah,
and
those were supposed to be
Yeah, it was supposed to be in the Museum of the Weird, but I'm really glad
Yeah.
that they added that because that did seem like a really fun element within the ride.
Yeah, and whenever I was doing research for the Museum of the Weird for last week's episode, I actually came across that they used a lot of the ideas, or not a lot, but a few of the ideas for Mystic Manor, and that was, from what I saw, intentional. So,
Oh, very cool.
That
yeah.
is cool. So, see, they do have your ride, Jared. You wanted them to do the
They-
Museum of the Weird, and they kind of have it.
They don't though because they don't have the melting candle man, and I really want that.
That is what you were most excited about.
So Disney, get on it. We all need a melting candle man in something.
Yes.
Please
Top
give it
priority.
to us. Yes. Make a movie about it. Melting Candle Man, the movie. I'll watch it.
You crazy. Anyway, I did think that there was something that was really cool in the queue for this ride. They have pictures lined up because it's supposed to be his house, you know.
Right.
And one of the pictures is he is cutting the ribbon and opening the house up. And you see him there. And then there's a crowd around. And off to the right-hand side of the picture are a young Walt and Roy Disney.
Oh, very interesting. I'm going to have to look that
That's
up.
really cool. I know, me too. That's really cool.
So the theme of this is supposed to be Mystic Manor was opened like in the early 19th century, right?
I do not know.
I feel like I did see something about it being in the early 19th century, so 1800 something. I'm not positive. I'm going to have to do a little bit more research, but I do feel like I saw that.
I mean, seems like it would make sense.
We did already talk about the trackless ride system earlier, but one of the things that made it really interesting is that each time you ride this ride, it is a little bit different. So it has the same elements, but each ride experience is unique because it has that trackless system.
Yeah, you're not
goes
starting
different
in
places.
you're not starting in one spot and ending in that same spot. You're going to be traveling a little bit more fluid. Right? That's kind of what you're talking about?
I guess, yeah, but there's multiple cars that'll go at the same time, and you'll all have a different experience. And each time, those same 4 cars will have different experiences. And that's the beauty of the trackless system, is that they can incorporate different elements into each ride. So every time you ride, it's going to be a different ride.
It's almost like Tower of Terror.
That's
Tower
what
of
I was
Terror
going to say.
is literally a random selection every single time you get on the ride. So you're never going to have the same exact ride.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too.
Just another way to bring up the best ride in the parks.
Oh, goodness. This is not a show about the Tower of Terror.
Unfortunately, it's not. But I do like the aspect of how the system starts in that. Okay, so you start in this one room where you see Lord Mystic looking for Albert, and then Albert pops up and opens the box, the music box that enchants everything, and that's what starts the ride. So you leave that room and go throughout the house, but whenever you end the ride, you come back to that first room that you were in, and then Albert closes the box. So it really feels like, to me, just watching it on the screen instead of actually riding the ride, and Amanda, give me your opinion on this, it feels like you're supposed to be in that one room and everything is going around you instead of you going around the house. Did it feel like that when you were riding it?
No.
Okay.
Because it feels like you're going into different rooms whenever you're there.
Okay.
Like
and
they look a little different each time you go into the next area. It looks a little different, so it's not all in the same room.
Right, and I know that it's not all in the same room. It just, whenever you're looking at it on a screen, it's a little bit harder to get
notice all the details.
Well, not notice all the details, but get the exact feel of the ride itself. I mean, obviously, too, notice all the details because you're dependent on somebody else pointing their camera to look at the whole room. But yeah, I do like that aspect where it brings you to the same room where you started and he closes the box and then you get off the ride.
Right. And that part really is the same room. You're just on the other side of the room.
Right.
Yeah. I know we've discussed the monkey Albert just a little bit already, and he is like kind of the main character of the whole ride. But he is a take on a Chinese monkey king that throughout his life, he is supposed to learn different lessons through his mistakes, basically.
Oh, okay.
And so it's something that's very prevalent in a lot of stories and movies and things in China.
Well, that's very cool.
Yeah. So they did the same thing with the ride, which is kind of neat.
Yeah. It did seem very like Curious George to me. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. And then the only other really interesting thing that I found was that the Imagineer who worked on this project, John, I know I'm going to mess this up, Lanzaro.
Okay, sure.
Yeah. He actually worked on Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway before he left the company. And he also worked on Pirates of the Caribbean in Shanghai.
Very cool. I do want to ride that ride.
Oh, me too.
That ride looks so awesome. And not anything like the Pirates of the Caribbean in Disney World or Disneyland.
Yeah. I mean, that they had a lot more technology when they were doing that than the original.
Oh, yeah, so most definitely.
It makes sense.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the new movies that come out.
Right.
I know that they changed the theming a little bit for Disney World, but I don't know. I would rather ride the Shanghai ride because it looks so much fun. Okay, one of the things that I did notice about Albert is so whenever you're in the queue for the ride, there are the pictures that are up that are showing, some of the adventures that Lord Mystic and Albert have been on. But I did see something that the first picture that you come across is Albert and Lord Mystic with a giant spider. And it's supposed to represent how Lord Mystic saved Albert from a giant spider. And that's how they met. I don't know where that comes from. I don't know how somebody got that from that specifically, but that's what I saw.
Interesting.
Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? The Imagineers probably know.
Probably.
I'm sure they probably know the story of their ride that they worked on for so long. But yeah, so I mean, very cool ride. I have not experienced it yet. I would love to be able to go to some of the worldly Disney parks that are not here in the United States. So Shanghai is on my list. You definitely can. You are a travel agent. And once COVID goes away and maybe I win the lottery, I can travel to a bunch of places. But yeah, no, I really want to go to Hong Kong Disney. I really want to go to Shanghai, Tokyo Disneyland, Paris would be amazing as well. All of them. I want to go to all the parks. I think that's one thing that is on my bucket list, to go to all Disney parks.
Mine too.
Me too.
Okay, well, that's going to bring us into mousekeeping. We definitely want to promote our YouTube channel. You can find that at bit.ly/T3M YouTube. And that is all lowercase. We are doing live streams on our off weeks from this podcast. So every other Thursday, whenever it does not correlate on a day that we're releasing the podcast, we're going to have a live stream. So definitely go and find that. You can either find it on Facebook, T3M Podcast, or you can find it at bit.ly/T3M YouTube. If you love the show, let us know. Leaving a 5-star written review is the best way for us to know how we're doing and if we're covering the topics that you want us to cover.
If you are looking to go to Walt Disney World for the 50th anniversary, reservations for the remainder of 2021 opened today, and today is October 15th. I highly recommend, if you are looking to go during that time, to book early, just because with an anniversary, you never know when they're going to sell out or if they're going to sell out, especially with the reduced capacity right now that we don't know how long is going to last. I feel like the 50th anniversary may book up. So if you're interested in going then, book soon. And if you'd like me to help book, I would be glad to do that. And you can find all of my contact information in the show notes, or you can go to my Facebook page, Amanda Hollis, Capture the Magic Vacations.
Join us for our next episode releasing Thursday, the 12th of November, where we will be talking about upcoming Disney movie releases that we're excited about. Be sure you're subscribed to the show so that you're updated when a new episode comes out every other Thursday.
Okay, that's going to do it for this week. Thank you all for listening. You can also be a part of the magic by following the show at T3M Podcast on all social media platforms. That's T3M Podcast. Leave us a 5-star written review and we'll read it on an upcoming episode. If you have an announcement that you would like to have on the show or just want to reach out to us, send us an email at t3mpodcast@gmail.com.
Have a zippity-doo-dah day.
See you real soon.